What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And today, the mic's going quiet again. Let's get that sorted. It keeps dropping. Right, we should be fine there now. We should be fine. What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. And happy Monday, people. And the World Cup is finally over, and I cannot wait for Arsenal to be back a week today when Arsenal play West Ham on Boxing Day. But listen, what a World Cup final we had yesterday. Yeah, Mike's better now. Apologies. What a World Cup final we had yesterday. For me, I'm going to briefly talk about the World Cup final, actually, in the World Cup, and then we'll put it to bed, and then it's time, Arsenal's back, Premier League action, and all of that good stuff, people. So really appreciate everyone who tuned in for the watch-along. We got great numbers for the game yesterday. Kwesi saying, surprised you can speak after that Mbappe second goal celebration. I'm not going to lie, for me, that was one of the moments of the tournament, that goal. It was electrifying. It came out of nowhere. But it was Messi's time. It couldn't be stopped. It was written in the stars for him, I'm afraid. So I'm just going to briefly talk about the World Cup. The final, anyway. Two things. I'm going to start by talking about Kylian Mbappe, because obviously our main focus is going to be Lionel Messi, of course. But this guy, 23 years of age, Golden Boot winner. He's 4 goals off being the highest World Cup goal scorer in the history. And the man's 23 years of age. I think, listen, the focus will all be Messi. Most of us crowned Messi the GOAT yesterday. Most people. Some people would still say others. But most people called him the GOAT. And rightly so. Big up Buenos Aires Guna in the chat. But I think we saw the future of football yesterday with this guy. Imagine how he felt this morning, scoring a hat-trick in a World Cup final. First hat-trick scored in a final since 1966, when Jeff Hurst scored a hat-trick for England. And he scores his penalty in the shootout. Yet somehow he comes out of that final as the loser. He must be looking at some of them French players sideways this morning. But what a performance. Electrifying. Golden Boot winner. And listen, his time will come. He's the future. He's better than Haaland for me. And I think he will be the world's best player. But his time will come. Listen, he's already won. He's already won the World Cup. And I think Messi, Argentina, the destiny was too much. You can't take that kind of fate out of their hands, I'm afraid. But yeah, listen, incredible performance from him. Deserves a huge bit of credit. My ratings for him have gone up in this competition, because we rate that French team highly, of course, and they've got some top players, but he carried that team. To score 8 goals in a World Cup is absolutely unbelievable. R9 and players like that, Thierry, didn't get those numbers. So big up to Kylian Mbappe. But of course, the man. And you know what's crazy? I woke up this morning feeling like I was hungover, and I didn't have any drink yesterday. I was drunk off football, people. I was literally drunk off football yesterday. It was unbelievable. And Buenos Aires Guna is hungover. I'm sure he did have a few drinks yesterday. But I felt hungover just off the pure excitement of the game, which was unbelievable. Kane, take note, man. You know what I mean? Hit the target. Doesn't matter how many penalties you take. Hit the target. Make the goalkeeper make a save. Don't mess about with it. Oh, no. He got 8 in 2002. I thought he got 7. My bad. Well, forgive me. R9 matched him, of course. But let's talk about this, man. Special little side note shout out to Angel Di Maria as well, who I felt was incredible in that 60 minutes that he was on. But this guy yesterday, it was like, I think we were very privileged yesterday of what we watched. The reason that we are football fans was for things like yesterday. Genuinely, for me, one of the best games of football that I've ever seen in my life. The energy, the way that game, 65 minutes, looked like it was done and dusted, 2-0. You could have turned it off. And they came back. Then Argentina take the lead. Then they come back again. Then it goes to penalties. It was unbelievable. It was phenomenal. And for me, I think he's the GOAT. I think he becomes the GOAT now, because And I've always said R9 will probably always be my favourite football player. I think when you grow up, the first player that kind of wows you in that way will always be your favourite because you've never seen anything like it. But this guy yesterday was just... Every question mark that I actually had of Messi, he's answered it in this tournament. He answered every question. I always question, how can he be that good and never score in the knockout stage of a World Cup? How can he be the GOAT and he hasn't done that? He's turned up to this tournament and scored in every single knockout game of this tournament, which is just incredible. And then scores 2 in the final and then slots that penalty in the shootout like it was an open goal. You know, just sat down Lloris, just rolled it in. I'm like, you're a joke. You're an absolute joke. Multiple La Ligas, multiple Champions Leagues, Copa America, World Cup. He's going to win the 8th Ballon d'Or. What can you say? People will always have their opinion. I can see people in the comments, right? Some people saying Maradona, R9 Ronaldo, Pele, Cruyff. And I understand it. Ronaldinho, it is subjective. But I think if you're putting his career and his longevity on paper, longevity is a vital thing. Ronaldinho, for me, the most entertaining footballer the world has ever produced. But he was a party animal. He was a top player for 5-6 years, and then he spent most of his time partying. This guy made his debut at, what, 17 for Barcelona? He's 35. He's been playing for 18 years, and he's still, when he turns the heat up, he's basically still the best. He's led that team. They can't win that World Cup without him in the team. They don't even get near it without him in the team. 35 years of age to produce that performance in every single knockout game, for me, that is the best footballer that I have ever watched. And I'm R9 to the core, people. Believe me, I'm R9 to the core. Pele, Maradona. I always think it's difficult for me to make that judgment because they weren't my generation. You know, I don't think you can truly feel a player watching replays on video. You do have an understanding of it, of course, but for me, this guy is the best I've ever seen. He really is. Jashar said, congratulations to Messi, who is great and turned up when it matters. But Pele is still the GOAT, in my opinion, with his 3 World Cups. Just say it. 3 World Cups. Listen, I get it. I do get it. We could debate it for hours and hours. All of them. Different situations. Pele's won the World Cups. Maradona's won the World Cups. Messi's won the Ballon d'Ors. He's won the Champions Leagues. R9, the knee injury. We can talk about it all day. But listen, it is what it is. CR7, listen, still a great player. I always say, you don't have to like one and disrespect the other. But this guy, for me, in the words of Jay from In Betweeners Football, completed it, mate. Completed it. And it was iconic. I actually felt more passion watching this game than I did watching England against France, because I just kind of expect Southgate to flop it and mess it up. But that picture is iconic, literally iconic. So anyway, for me, that's it. That's the end. The World Cup, brilliant World Cup. One of the best I've ever seen. One of the most exciting. Probably not the highest of quality World Cups in terms of my favourite ever. But in terms of excitement, it's right up there. And as Anthony said, he said, we need to understand there's a difference between the best and the greatest. Yeah, but there will never be a fact as to who the best is there? You know, and that's the beauty of football. We can argue it all day long. Zinedine Zidane, one of the best I've ever seen. Thierry, R9, Ronaldinho. You could go further back. Cruyff, Pele, Maradona. You know, George Best. There's many, but for me, this generation, that 5'7" monster for Argentina yesterday, I've never seen a 35-year-old produce at that sort of level and put a team on his back and win a World Cup. Truly remarkable, really is. And he'll win that 8th Ballon d'Or, by the way. The Ballon d'Or was wrapped up yesterday. You might as well forget that. He's winning Ballon d'Or number 8 next summer as well. David said, can we talk about Arsenal? I'm tight. Right, listen, it's done, it's dusted. Big up, David. Big up everyone, by the way, for supporting throughout the World Cup. It's been amazing. Really enjoyed it. Really appreciated it. And that's it. Let's move on. Let's get back down to business now. You want to talk about GOATs? There's only one place to start, people. Forget Maradona. Forget Pele, Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, R9, Ronaldinho, Messi. Let's talk about Eddie Nketiah, who played like a GOAT on Saturday. Not the GOAT as in greatest of all time. He played like a GOAT that you see in a farm when you went on a school trip and you fed him through the fence. He played like that kind of GOAT. I mean, Edward, from the heights of Lionel in the World Cup to the deep depths of Eddie Nketiah. If I ever actually speak to Eddie in person, could be an awkward conversation. I've spent most of the time slandering him. It's truly, you know, for entertainment purposes. There's no malice in it, though, people. Curried goat. Yeah, more like curried goat, to be honest. But Arsenal lost to Juventus. 2 own goals. Interesting that a team can come and play us and beat us without scoring a goal against us. So Arsenal-like, innit? But I just hope that's not a sign of things to come, people. Fave said, what do you think of Emi Martinez now? Listen, my opinion of Emi Martinez hasn't changed. I always thought he was a top goalkeeper. I was disappointed when we sold him. I felt we sold him too cheap. I threw out a grenade on Twitter and said we shouldn't have sold him. People went crazy. What do you mean we shouldn't have sold him? Ramsdale's better than him. I just said I don't think we should have sold him, people. That's all I'm saying. And we sold Leno 1 year later. But hey, Joshua said, big up Curtis after winning 3 out of 4 World Cups and Brazil keeping the trophy. Pele retired to give everyone a chance. I'll stop. Joshua, yeah. Listen, we're moving on. Well done, Pele. 3 World Cups. Now let's talk about Sherman Klump, right? Sherman. Arsenal, I'm telling you now, Paul Merson said it. If we don't sign a striker in January, we're in big trouble. I'm sorry. I'm not hiding from it. I'm saying it before it happens, and I think we can all see it. I'm all for Hale End. Arsenal fans always tell me about, but Hale End. He comes from Hale End. To be honest, I don't care where he comes from. I don't care if he comes from Hale End, wherever. Martinelli came from Brazil. Thierry came from France. I don't care where they come from. I'm not sure, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, and this is very harsh, but I'm here to speak harsh facts, right? I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm here to support you, but it's going to be real. I'm not sure Eddie starts for any team in the Premier League with fully fit strikers. I mean it sincerely. I'm not sure he starts for any team in the Premier League if their strikers are fully fit. I'm just going to give you a quick example. I'm looking at the bottom of the league. Wolves, bottom of the league. Jimenez, better. Second from bottom, Southampton. Shea Adams is better. Nottingham Forest, I think Emmanuel Dennis is better than him, to be honest. I think Emmanuel Dennis is better. Everton, Calvert-Lewin. West Ham, Scamacca, Antonio. Leeds, Rodrigo, Bamford. Bournemouth, Solanke's not great. He might have a little argument at Bournemouth, but Solanke this season hasn't been too bad. Leicester, Vardy, Villa, Ings. We might as well stop the count already. Even if he can get in 1 or 2 of them teams, doesn't mean he should be starting for us who are table toppers. Man City got Alvarez on the bench. JK said he's better than them. No, I'm being real. Out of them players there, you tell me which one is better than. Do you know what? Let's get off this screen sharing, right? I'm going to share the Premier League table with you. We're here to have hard conversations, people. It ain't easy, as Saeed once said. Wolves, rock bottom. Don't start for Wolves. He ain't better than Jimenez. No chance. Jimenez was going to get a big move probably before the head injury. Let's be real. Southampton, Shea Adams. He ain't better than Shea Adams. Forest, I don't think Forest would want him. I don't think they would want him, to be honest. Emmanuel Dennis, I don't think they go for Everton, Calvert-Lewin, not a chance. West Ham, Antonio, not a chance. Leeds, people saying he's better than Bamford. Bamford spun him out of there on loan, people. They cut the loan up early and said, take him back. We don't want him. Bournemouth, Solanke, that's the only one I might say, you might have a debate. You might have a competition at Bournemouth. Leicester, Even an old Vardy's starting over him. Iheanacho's better than him. Dakar's better than him. Villa, Ings, Watkins, no chance. Palace, I don't really... Who do they even start through the middle, really? I'm not even sure. Eddie won't start at AFTV, I'm telling you. He'd come on if I'm tired, last 20 minutes. But listen, I'm not doing this to destroy the guy. I'm speaking cold, hard facts here, people. When you turn up at Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, Tottenham, Chelsea, any of them teams, you need to give them something to worry about. They need to be thinking, this is a long day at the office. If you're playing against Haaland, or you're playing against Salah, or you're playing against Harry Kane, maybe not the Kane that skied the penalty, whatever. You know that whether you rate those guys or not, you're thinking, you can't give him a big chance. If he gets a big chance, he's going to punish us, right? I don't think any team in the Premier League, especially those big teams, if we go there, they're not scared of Eddie. He's not putting any kind of fear into them. And I'm saying this, right, from a point of view of trying to defend him. I know that might have sounded a little bit harsh, but I'm being honest here. I think we're putting him in a position, I think we're setting him up to fail. Because the fans will turn on him, everyone will blame him, and I don't think he's up to it. We don't need to be rocket scientists. It's not being harsh. It's not having an agenda. It's being honest. We're Arsenal fans. We want the best. Even if you're not an Arsenal fan in the chat, you want the best for your football club. You cannot sit there and look at Eddie Nketiah and think, for 3 months, he can carry this team on his back. We play Man United second week of January. Third week of January, we play Tottenham. I've got no confidence that Eddie can go into them games and really produce. But listen, we may have no choice. Wasim, you're right. You can't fault his energy. He'll run through brick walls for you. But he's on 100 grand a week. He's on 100 grand a week. There's a striker right now in the Championship. You put Troy Deeney up front, he'll run through a brick wall. Elbow defenders, run his socks off. Don't mean he's good enough. 100 grand. We've just seen, right, Alvarez for Argentina up front in this World Cup. He's come in, he's took Lautaro Martinez out of the team, who clubs were talking about 80, 90 million, and he's been incredible for Argentina up front. That guy is the second choice striker at Manchester City. That's the guy that's sitting on the bench. He's probably a 70, 80 million pound striker now. That's the guy they're bringing on. Never mind Ivan Drago that they've got starting up front with Haaland. So if what I'm saying is, and listen, anybody that thinks I've been too harsh on Eddie here, then forgive me. I'm just simply saying there's a certain level that we need to adhere to, and we can't think that a guy that has only had a loan spell in the Championship can hold it down for 3 months in the Premier League and keep us top. Our standards need to be higher. We've got to go into the market. Surat, thank you for the super chat. Said, technically, we just need Eddie to do the same as Gabby on the pitch. Gabby weren't scoring, so we do not need to rely on Eddie to score. But who said Joe Joyce? Come on. I said Joe Joyce. Nah, Surat, you better relax. But you know what it is? In simple terms, you've simplified that, and it sounds very simple. All Eddie needs to do is what Gabriel Jesus does on the pitch, because Gabby wasn't scoring. That sounds very simple, right? The second sentence, the last sentence, by the way, you've given me a right hook on the jaw, and it's only Monday. I wasn't even ready to duck out the way of it. You know what I mean? How are you coming in with the right hook on a Monday afternoon? It's Christmas in 6 days. Jeez, man said Joe Joyce. I'm not happy with that. But anyway, we move. But what Gabby's doing, even outside of scoring, I'm not sure Eddie can even produce that, because look at Gabby's hold-up play. Look at his assists. Look at his movement. And look at, man. I get what you're saying, though, but Eddie, for me, can't do that. He can't do that. He can't do that, I'm afraid. You know, you made it sound very simple, though. Sarah has a point with the latter statement. See, he started something now. It's a disgraceful comment. And you paid as well. You paid to slander me. Earl said, big up Big C in the community. Brother, I'm still in pain from the Juve game. I took my utes to the game and spent 5 bags at the Armory. Shameless settings. Yo, do you know what? Yeah, I swear, I'm so happy that I did not go to that Arsenal-Juventus game, man. I was so tempted to take Cruz and go and watch the game. I thought, you know, a week before Christmas, cheaper tickets. That game was a disgrace, by the way. You know, that's why I'm not even reviewing the game, by the way. We ain't doing no player ratings. We're not talking about it. I don't want nothing to do with that game. I'm deleting that game from my memory. It was a stinker. 10 bags in the Armory as well. Assassin said, Saka and Martinelli will be back at Colney this week. They're expected to be available for the game at Boxing Day. We need them. We need them. Surat's come back. All love, bro. We do need to spare him word. Hey, big up, bro. Respect as well. You know me. I can take the banter, people, all day long. Anyway, let's get into a quick bit of waffle settings before we look at some transfer news. Let's talk Mikel Arteta. Let's see if he was waffling or whether he's telling the truth. Every word from Mikel's post-Juventus presser. I mean, the crazy thing is Juventus turned up with a reserve team. Turned up with basically their whole starting 11 was not there, right? Literally their whole 11. I think their starting 11 we had down would have been Szczesny, Danilo, Alexandro, Bremer, Bonucci, Paredes, McKennie, Pogba, Chiesa, Di Maria and Vlahovic. Their whole 11 didn't play. Locatelli was the only one kind of first-team player, and Regani and a couple good young players. So, listen, it was disappointing, but not the end of the world. But the warning signs were there. I'm hoping, despite this being a real negative performance, that it acts as a wake-up call for the board and for the manager that, listen, you're not going to be able to get away with this, what you're thinking about. But let's see what he said. On if he's focusing more on the performance than the result, he said probably because the result doesn't reflect the performance. It's a good test, a good learning for us as well. Games are decided in the boxes. I think they had 1 or 2 shots and scored 2 goals. We had 19 or 20 and had 2 on target. That's not enough. Overall, I think everything else was positive, but that final thing you need to win the games wasn't enough. That miss from Eddie, man, where he hits the post, I'm just like, bro, come on. Come on, man. You got to score that. RS7 said Eddie has scored 5 in 8 while Jesus has scored 5 in 19. But let's be real, bro. Eddie hasn't scored a goal in the Prem this season. Carabao Cup and Europa League group stage, yeah, by all means, mate, you're a monster. You are literally a beast in them games. But Premier League, you're like a little puppy, mate. You know what I mean? They're stroking you. It's nothing. And Gabby, listen, we know Gabby needs to score more, but he's been effective without the goals. Big up my bro Fran in the chat. World Cup is done. Waffle is back. Messi the GOAT, it's confirmed. Yep, 100% people. 100%. But anyway, let's move on. Watch Jesus and watch Eddie. You'll see the difference. The eye test don't lie, says Nathan. 100%. Let's see what he goes to say. Obviously, the other negative was Reece Nelson's injury. Just started to look lively. On Reece Nelson's injury, and if it hastens plans to bring in a forward in January, said, we don't know the extent of the injury. The fact he had to leave the pitch immediately is not good news, especially someone like Reece, who is powerful and fast. Let's see what happens. We know what we have to do, and that hasn't changed the plans. I hope that's not all talk, because you do need to do it. And it seems to me that that the club are willing to back him, but we'll see. Proof will be in the pudding, people. On updates on Smith Rowe, Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, he said Emil hasn't been able to train in the last few days. Hopefully he can start next week. He's been out for a while. He needs some time to get back to speed. We really need him, and we're going to welcome him with both arms. He's a really important player. Alex Zinchenko is progressing well, and Tomiyasu is running on the pitch. Hopefully we're going to get the international players back who have been at the World Cup, who will join us this week. We'll all be watching Saliba tomorrow to see if he can win the World Cup. Saliba didn't kick a ball, and of course they didn't win the World Cup, which was a shame. But listen, plus side of that is that clubs are not going to be queuing up at our door, hopefully, to sign Saliba, because he's been out of the spotlight in this World Cup. So every cloud has a silver lining, you know. LSU Gunnar, thank you for the super chat, said, stick to the plan. We need backup for Partey and really for Saka. Ruben Neves and Buchanan of Bruges on the wing. Whatever we say, Eddie is out there on Boxing Day. And you know what? You're 100% true. And I'm going to cap a little bit here, because for all my constructive criticism of Eddie Nketiah is how I would like to put it. Boxing Day, and I think we play again on the 29th or the 30th. We've got Eddie and nothing but Eddie. So do me God. That's all we've got. Unless you play Martinelli up front, which I don't think he's going to do. So we're going to have to support him. I'll be a fan of his while he's up front. And I hope he can prove us wrong. And I hope he can turn things around. Like I said, I never thought Granit Xhaka could turn out to be a vital player for Arsenal. I couldn't stand him. I wanted him out the door. Stranger things have happened than Eddie to turn things around. But at the same time, I'm not convinced right now. But time will tell. He has the opportunity. We're football fans. We're fickle. If Eddie goes and scores a hat-trick against West Ham, I'll be celebrating and saying I always rated him. And I won't even be hiding from it. So he still has the opportunity. Big up Elliot who said, yamming waffles, sipping syrup, backing Nketiah on this Cone Man music. I think I called him Uncarteta. 1.6k in the chat. Smash the likes. Can we get 1,000 likes, people? Someone said, if Eddie is the answer, what is the question? I don't know, people. I don't know. On how the feeling in the Arsenal dressing room compares to successful teams he's been a part of. He says, I think we're in a really good place. Everybody is in a high emotional state because we are where we want to be, top of the league. I think we deserve to be in the position we're in with the way we played and approached games. This window has been to reinforce where we are. But still, the good news is that there are still things to improve and become a better team. Definitely need to do that. What's up, Curtis? Sent you a DM about supporting my family. Big up Yasser, man. I'll check after, bro. I'll try and get back to you as soon as we finish. Hope everything's well with your daughter. If you don't get quality additions this Jan, it's all downhill fast like Ski Sunday. No lies told, man. No lies. It's a steep hill. On if it will be hard to start again at the same level the team played at before the break, he said, no, I think it's been really positive. The players we have trained exceptionally well, better than I've probably ever seen them train. They've competed really well, played well, and we just have to continue. It's a long marathon. So they've had a good training camp in Dubai. It's the best he's ever seen them train, people. On when Saka and Martinelli will be phased back, it's a short press conference. I have to say I'm delighted with that. He says they'll come straight back. They'll come back straight away into the rhythm, shape and mould of the team. We're waiting for them and are desperate for them to be back. I've spoken to both of them. Gabby was here today with a big smile and big energy. He's ready to go again. It's going to be a big boost for the team. Let's end the waffle real quick. So listen, we are where we are. Let's be honest. The team looked very good prior to the World Cup. You would hope that we can get away with a few games with Eddie up front as long as the rest of the team functions in the same manner. The majority of our goals have come from Martinelli, Saka and Odegaard. Xhaka and Partey have chipped in with a couple. Gabriel's chipped in as well. So the fact remains, we'd like to think that that stability is still there and we can maintain that while Jesus is out. My problem is long-term and once we're playing against the better teams, that I think we will be found wanting a little bit. That is the problem for me. And we do have that little cushion of being 5 points clear, but 5 points can disappear like that. Wednesday night, Sunday afternoon, 5 points disappears. You know, 2 bad games in a week and Man City roll you over and you're done. So we need to make sure we're in a good position moving forward. Now, a couple of things I want to look at is let's talk transfers. Always nice to talk transfers. What are we doing moving ahead? What is this club planning on doing? Now, we're going to speak about this guy probably for the whole month. David Ornstein did an interview yesterday before the World Cup on Haters TV, and he said the likelihood is that Shakhtar will come down in price for Mudryk. When push comes to shove, it's a tricky situation. There are some people in the industry you talk to who think Arsenal will get it done. For me, I'm just at this point with him now. It's the same thing for me as it was with Vlahovic last summer. Stop talking about him. Get it done. Mudryk madness. Monday Mudryk, people. I'm telling you. Stop. Just get the deal done. If you want him, Get him signed. I know it's not Football Manager and big deals don't get done straight away and there's negotiating. They want 80 million. We want to pay 50. We might offer 50 plus add-ons. Get it to 60. Deal with the wages. I know it doesn't happen overnight. He's so desperate to join us. There's no way on earth that we shouldn't be getting this deal done if we want him. I've said it before and I'm going to hold my hands up. I don't truly know how good this guy is. I really don't. I don't truly know how good this guy is. He looks very good on YouTube. He looks very good in the games that I've seen. But I can't say for certain whether he's worth 50, 60, 70 million. However, A&E says it here. I think clubs, if you saw a player like this twerking for Chelsea or for Man City or for Man United and they wanted him, I think they'd have got the deal done by now. I think it's wrapped up and it's in the bag. No messing around. This shouldn't be difficult. HK said he's a YouTube baller. John said he's a pace merchant. It's an interesting one. It's very interesting that Arsenal are willing to spend big money on a player that is still relatively unproven in the world game. They must really be convinced by this guy if they're prepared to pay huge money for him like that. I have to admit, I'm cautious about this deal. I think I'm a little bit scarred from the Pepe deal. But like a lot of you are saying, I like the fact that he's very quick. I am a pace merchant when it comes to teams. I think pace damages the opposition. It puts them on the back foot. And I think his pace would be a great addition. Listen, again, the proof will be in the pudding. Can he deal with the Premier League? Can he adjust quickly? That will be the interesting thing. I think, listen, if you ask me, I would still truly be looking for somebody that I'm certain of can make an instant impact. But we will see. Shaib said, we don't need this Mudryk hype. Where does he fit in? And that's another good question. Again, you're spending 60, 70 million. He's a left winger. Is he better than Gabriel Martinelli? I'm going to say no at this point. DJ Gatti said, hey, Curtis, I heard Benzema retired. Yep, he's retired from international football. Real shame, really. PTSP, post-traumatic stress Pepe disorder, should we call it. 72 million for Pepe. Natty said Zaha's better. Zaha at 20, Mudryk at 60. You know me, people. I'm Wilfred Zaha FC, man, because I know what we're getting if we sign him. He's also going to cost you 20-odd million. I would love to see Arsenal sign Zaha now for 20 million and sign Mudryk in the summer for 50-odd million if that's the guy you want. That's probably how I would do it. Imagine having four wingers of Mudryk, Zaha, Saka and Martinelli and you're in the Champions League. That's absolutely incredible. Loan out Marquinhos, sell Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe you have to play central. Four wingers of an unbelievable level and you're going into the Champions League. You've got enough football to rotate them. That's what I would love to see. And yeah, like you said, Zaha being linked with Tottenham, that really bothers me. That really annoys me, you know. He's an Arsenal fan as well, desperate to join us. But listen, it is what it is. Let's move on. That's our Mudryk talk. We're going to be talking about him for a long time. Get Mahrez better than Zaha. Problem with Mahrez, I think he's been offered a new deal. And I think they've offered to extend his deal. He's 31, nearly 32. So you'd have to pay a decent transfer fee for him, I think, even now. Nelson is done. Contract expires in the summer. Be interesting with that Nelson injury, depending on how long he's out for. Will the club wash their hands of him now and say, listen, he's a good player, but we can't afford to keep giving this guy new deals if he can't produce it. Right, a bit of slander. Richard said, thank God you are not the coach. Fair enough, Richard. Give him a thanks. You give me your solution, Richard. I'm always prepared. I'm always prepared to hear from you. So you'd be disappointed with Wilfred Zaha for 6 months, for £20 million. Give him an 18-month deal and then get Mudryk in the summer. That would disappoint you. I want to hear your solution, though, Richard. I'm always prepared. I hope he's not another Marquinhos. Clement said get Zaha for 20 million, and if Mudryk is there in the summer, sign him then. Hey, Richard will come for you, bro. Say, thank God you're not the coach, Clement. Dear, time out. No, listen, I'm all ears. I want to hear the response. That's what I want to hear. Anyway, let's move on, people. Another player that we've spoken about about 1,000,000 times. It's another boring one, to be honest, but I can't ignore it just in case it happens. And it's man like Yuri Tielemans. I don't know how I feel about this guy now. Anyway, the more I've watched him, the more I don't want him. But at the same time, if we got him, I'll dress it up as a good signing, you know. Richard came in on smoke. Richard said, I trust in Arteta. Richard, I didn't say anything about Arteta. I didn't criticise him, didn't diss him. I'm just purely offering a suggestion, Richard. I would sign Wilf in January. I would sign Mudryk in the summer. But if we sign Mudryk in January, I'll celebrate as well. Happy Monday, Richard. Cheers, fella. Hope everything's all right. You trust in Arteta. Beautiful. Happy Monday, Rich. Calm down. Big up Richard, man. Richard came in on smoke. Man said, thank God you're not the manager. I trust Arteta. Richard, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Let's hope things don't go downhill, I'm telling you. Time out, Richard. Richard, you might need 3 minutes to calm down. Richard, naughty step for you, fella. It's too much now. Nah, Richard, I'm joking. Let's move on. Arsenal are ready to try their luck. Let me get my... get this logo off. Arsenal are ready to try and entice Leicester with an offer for Yuri Tielemans in January. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this story anymore. It's a bit boring. Sometimes when I see these reports about Yuri Tielemans, I'm like, do I just not mention this in today's stream? Do I ignore it? But then, you know, if I see breaking news and we sign Yuri Tielemans, I'll say, damn, I spoke about this guy 40 times. And the day that I didn't talk about him, we ended up signing him. So I have to report it. According to the report from Graham Bailey, Arsenal are going to make a reduced offer for Yuri Tielemans in January. If the deal is rejected, then they will wait until the summer to sign him. You know, they're just recycling stories at this point. If they want him, just get him. Hasn't signed a deal, clearly doesn't want to sign a deal, and he's just had a terrible World Cup. So I'm not being funny. His stock is low right now. You know, they can't make crazy demands or use the World Cup as a bargaining tool to get more money. He's had an absolute stinker in the World Cup. So, I mean, listen, it is what it is. If you want him, just sign him. Just stop boring us with linking. Me personally, I've said it once and I've said it again. I think Arsenal will sign him in the summer, or I think they will offer him a contract to sign him in the summer. I actually don't think Arsenal want to pay any money for him. I think they're thinking, listen, if we wait another 4 months, 4 or 5 months, we get this guy on a free at the end of the season. And because they went in for Douglas Luiz, it kind of gives me the impression that they're looking for a defensive-minded player rather than a creative player. Yeah, maybe we're signing the wrong player in the picture. Maybe we should be going for Maddison instead of Tielemans, to be fair. The only thing is he would cost a lot of money. Richard said, I was only kidding. I love your content. Cheers. Richard, listen, fair play, bro. You know me. I can take it. Big up yourself, Rich. Happy Monday. I trust Arteta as well, by the way, to a certain extent. But anyway, let's keep it moving. It's positive vibes, you know. Get Enzo Fernandez to the carpet. Honestly, alongside probably Bellingham, that for me is like somebody's got to break the bank to get him. He won Young Player of the Tournament. I think he's absolutely outstanding, that Enzo Fernandez. I think he's got a 100 million release clause at Benfica. He is outrageously good, seriously. Jake said, Curtis, I would swap Vieira plus 45 million for Maddison. I mean, Vieira at this point, I'm not convinced. Do I think he's talented? Yes. Has he done enough? No. But time will tell. I'll give him the opportunity at least until the summer to see where we're at. So Yuri Tielemans to Arsenal. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I think Arsenal will offer him a contract in the summer. If they can get him for peanuts in January, maybe they'll explore it. Champar said Enzo must be 80 million now. I believe it's 100. It might be 100 million euros or 100. Let me see if it's 100 million euros. He's outstanding. Release clause. Enzo Fernandez. 102 million pounds is the release clause. Nearly 120. It's 120 million euros. 102 million pounds. I mean, I'm not sure many people are going to pay that. McAllister definitely going to get a bigger move from Brighton. Yeah, he's not going to be able to stay at Brighton long. He's had a fantastic World Cup. I'd take him, by the way. I would take him. Like these late streams, said Montana. Yeah, listen, we'll look at it. We'll look at it. If 4 o'clock suits the community better than 2 o'clock, I can move people. You know me. I'm a man of the community, so we can move it if... I know it makes it easier for people in certain parts of the world, especially in America and things like that. If you're 5-6 hours behind the UK, 2 o'clock in the afternoon is quite early. 4 o'clock's probably a lot easier. Whatever people feel is best, we can move it. But Enzo, top quality. Another player we're being linked with, who we have been linked with before, by the way. But we're being linked with him again today. And that is Matheus Cunha from Atletico Madrid. As per Ruben Aria said, Arsenal are still exploring whether to sign Cunha or not. Now, I want to add that a little bit to this story, if you read this full story, is that the report coming out of Atletico Madrid now is that they are not prepared to let João Felix leave the club on loan. They're only willing to let João Felix go if somebody is willing to buy him in January. They believe that he's such a big player, such a highly rated and expensive player, that if they're going to let him go, somebody's going to have to pay for him. So I think that probably scuppers any chance that Arsenal have got of signing João Felix. I can't imagine Arsenal dropping 70-80 million pound on João Felix in January unless they can structure it in a certain way to get him on the cheap. Now, this guy, Matheus Cunha, we've spoken about him before. Brazilian international. My issue with this guy has always been, when I've watched him play a few times, not loads of times, he doesn't look like a striker to me. He looks more like a number 10. Doesn't score many goals. 6 goals last season was his highest at Atletico. Played for Hertha Berlin. 7 goals was his highest. And then he played in Switzerland. 10 goals was his highest. He's not a prolific goal scorer. I don't think he's the answer personally. He's not an out-and-out striker. Apparently they want £24 million for him. What worries me about this deal is he's 23. He's Brazilian. He's a Brazilian international. It just screams of Edu. You know, it screams of Edu that he would be all over this deal. He's at a price that they could afford. And he would know him from the Brazilian national team. It just worries me. I've got to be honest. This worries me because it's a deal that you could see happening just because of the links to Edu and the fact he's Brazilian and probably worked with him before. And the price being 24 million pounds, it's saying. In fact, it's saying it could be as little as 21 million pounds here. That, for me, is a bit of a concern. And I feel like it would appeal to Arsenal. So, I don't know. For me, buy a striker. And I've said it time and time again. There are people out there that can fill the boots of Gabriel Jesus. 6 goals in 40 appearances. I'd rather keep Eddie. Oz said, what sort of player is Cunha? Listen, he's technical. Not the tallest. He's technically good, but he's not like a striker. He's more like a false 9 / number 10, really, rather than a striker. Wolves are in pole position to get him. So, but obviously, listen, he's going to come to Arsenal ahead of Wolves if we could get him. If you can get him on loan, maybe they'll look at it. Buenos Aires Guna said, rescue De Paul and João from Atletico Madrid. Offensive players are being wasted. Listen, it would take big money to get those 2 guys. And are Arsenal going to spend it in January? 8x8 said I would go all out for Rafael Leao. He's only 23. I'm a big fan of Leao. I think Milan said they want 100 million plus for him. huge money to get him. Marcus Thuram, I got to be honest, Marcus Thuram yesterday I thought looked pretty decent. That was one of the first games that I've watched him and thought, actually, he looks very lively here. I'm still not sure how good he is, but he's definitely somebody that could be worth looking at. He's got 6 months left on his contract, got 10 goals already this season in the Bundesliga. So it's one to keep an eye on. Definitely one to keep an eye on, but I'm not fully convinced. But he definitely changed the game yesterday. I can't lie. His pace and power, great little assist for Mbappe for the volley as well. So he showed a little bit of quality there. Definitely showed a little bit of quality. So Mawani is an easier deal. Listen, I see Mawani miss that chance at the end, man. I was fuming, but he did look quick. One for me that is screaming out loud. In fact, let me get into a few comments. Alexander said, Big C, if we're getting a centre forward, do you think someone like for Jesus or completely different would be better? Bearing in mind they'd be a plan B. There was a supporters club on AFTV the other day that I was on, and we spoke about this. I would personally get somebody different. The problem is Arteta might be thinking, if Jesus is out for 3 months, I want somebody similar so that we can play the same style of football. However, I think he's got to bear in mind that when Jesus comes back, I think it would be a bigger positive for us to have 2 different types of strikers. Somebody with physical presence would be good, in my opinion. So, yeah, for me, I would like to see us get somebody different, in my opinion, rather than buying somebody similar. Why did we sell Emi Martinez? Listen, I set that grenade off yesterday on Twitter. A lot of people agreed. Some people were crying in the comments, but it is what it is, people. Compared to Eddie, everyone is different. Lizard said, Big C, any thoughts on Hendrick, the new Brazilian wonder kid? I think they've paid 60 million for it. The game's gone mad. You know, people paying 60 million for 16-year-olds. It's wild. Let's see. Let's see. You're paying that much money, you expect him to be a superstar. But we've seen a lot of wonder kids over time become not very good. Freddie Adu and them, man. Southern Gooner, thank you for the super chat. What worries me, Curtis, is how long will it take to get any of this done? We really can't afford to be dropping points, then having to wait on a player to bed in. We need week 1 signings. Also, you want to sign these players while we're top. Now, I'm not saying anything negative, but if things were to go wrong, by the end of January, it might look different. You want to sign players now where you can say, listen, we're top of the league. We've got money to spend. We've got a space there for a striker to come and play for us. A lot of players would want to join us. So I totally agree. I want to see players signing January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, you know. So big up yourself, bro. A January move for Enzo Fernandez would be virtually impossible. It would be a summer transfer. It will remain at Benfica for the remainder. They'll be sitting there thinking, listen, we're going to clean up in the summer. We get 90 million plus for this guy. Nathan said, Kane's got a year left in the summer. Offer them a swap with Eddie. Spurs give us 50 million. Do you know what's interesting, right? How crazy is this? Harry Kane. So let me just check this out. In 18 months' time, Harry Kane is going to be out of contract in 18 months. He's 29 years of age now. He turns 30 in July. I mean, that would... Imagine if we pulled off Sol Campbell Part 2. By then, maybe we don't need a striker, to be honest. But can you imagine if we signed Kane on a free transfer at the end of next season? You know, say, listen, Kane, just be honest. You're a boiled gooner. Let go of all that Tottenham foolishness now. Richard's coming back. Hey, Richard, these are comments I like. But nah, listen, big up yourself, Rich. Richard said, by the way, your live watch-along for the final yesterday was the best ever. Thank you. I appreciate it, bro. Bring Harold back to the carpet. Just slam him in the under-23s for 3 years. Say, you got to learn now, bro. You got to learn. But nah, that would be decent. That would be decent. Kane will get a good move. He'll get a move. United, someone like that. But can you imagine? Kane was a boiled gooner, my friend. Big gooner as well. He can turn it down all he wants in the interviews. But can you imagine? Yeah, this is an interesting one. Thursday night, I probably will do a watch-along for this just to ease us in back to Premier League football. Liverpool v Man City Carabao Cup on Thursday. I will do a watch-along for that. Usually I don't go near the Carabao Cup at this stage, but that's a massive game, and that'll ease us into Boxing Day, Arsenal against West Ham, you know. So, yeah, man, big CR7 or Kane. I mean, overall career, CR7. If you're on about right now, Kane's ahead of him, but CR7, listen, just look at his trophy cabinet. That's all we need to talk about. Kane's got an Audi Cup medal in there, and that's about it. Darian said, stop ducking my question. What are Cunha's assist numbers like? 2 assists this year, 4 last year, and how many the year before? 1 the year before, so they're nothing to write home about. That is for sure. Now, then he said, I want you supporting your dad's team on Thursday. Liverpool, I'm conflicted. On one hand, I'm like, do I want Man City to win so that they have fixture congestion, so that, you know, maybe later in the season, maybe Haaland struggling a little bit, too much football, or do I want them to lose to Liverpool so that their heads drop, there's more pressure on them to win the Champions League? I'll probably go with them losing. Pep's losing his head, and they get knocked out the Champions League. Yeah, I'll go with Liverpool win. We'll go with a Liverpool win. Let's damage Man City's confidence from early. And Haaland misses 2 sitters as well. Comrade said, thought I missed today's stream, but here it is with my G. Curtis just returned from the getaway in Notts. Interesting place. What area did you grow up in? Big up as always. I'm from St. Anne's, bro. Brewster's Road. Notorious area in Nottingham, but a good city, man. Very lively city. Lots to do. Listen. My solution, I've said it time and time again. Realistic, affordable, point to prove. And Abby said, I love it when viewers get angry when the YouTuber does not read the chat. Listen, karma, people. Karma. Do the scars like, listen, Steven Gerrard, big game on Thursday, you know, Liverpool against City. Now, I'm hoping for the Liverpool win, because what I really want, I want Haaland, I want Alvarez, I want, you know, who else? I want Kevin De Bruyne. I want all their confidence levels to drop so that Arsenal can win the league, you know. So, yeah, of course, Liverpool. I'll be singing You'll Never Walk Alone, lad. I'm telling you, Brookside. That's the best I've got, people. I thought that was prime Scouse. I can't lie, people, but hey, not bad. Not bad. You thought you was in the middle of Merseyside. But anyway, let's move, people. Let's move. My solution to our striker problems is this. It's this, people. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Clip that Ross, by the way. I thought that was not bad. McLovin, sorry for the Man City slander. We're in a title race. It's necessary. You can be like Farley. Curtis is like Mick from Brookside. What a legend he was, by the way. This is my solution to the problem. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sign Memphis Depay. Simple. £5 million. Now, they're now saying again that Memphis could be moving. They were saying the other day that they're not really prepared to sell him. And it's saying here, so a report coming out today, ESPN are saying that Memphis Depay, Barcelona are asking clubs to pay only as little as €2 million for Memphis Depay this winter, but so far no team has shown a willingness to buy him. This could be due to his high wage of £180,000 a week. Depay is also looking for more stability as he only signed a short-term deal at Barcelona. £2 million for Memphis Depay. What? 2 million? £2 million. I think Gunnosaurus gets paid more than that. Gent next door said Memphis is useless. I've never understood the hype. Listen. Let me pull up stats. People. You look at stats, right? Barcelona last season. 18 starts, 12 goals, 2 assists. 14 goal contributions in 18 games at Barcelona. Year before, Leon. Right? In the league, 37 games, 20 goals, 12 assists. He also played 8 Champions League games and got 6 goals. That's the creme de la creme of football, Champions League. 8 goals, 6 goals in 8 games, and in the league, 20 goals and 12 assists. I'm sorry, them numbers are worth £2 million. £2 million. I'm telling you, Gunnosaurus on more than that. I'm telling you, he's got to be on 2.5. I am buying him all day long for £2 million. Give him 18 months with a 1-year option, 2 million, get the job done. Cheap money, give him the 180 grand a week. Arsenal can pay that. Bag him up all day long. What striker are you going to buy? Ivan Toney will cost you 50, 60 million. Andy could be getting banned. Not going to happen. Mitrovic, I like him. He would cost 40, 50 million. Fulham, they can't afford to sell him. But if you could get him, he's going to cost you 40, 50 million. Jonathan David looked like trash in the World Cup. Ronaldo, most of you don't want us to go anywhere near Ronaldo. I can't see a solution. We need a striker. £2 million. I'm signing him all day long. Now, listen. Lizard Kid, I'm telling you, we'll chip in on that if we have to. This 55,000 subscribers here, if we put what? About a tenner each in? What does that get? That gets 550 grand. £10 each. That's a quarter of him. We can buy a quarter of Memphis Depay for £10 each, people. Unbelievable. I've got to put a poll up. I can't believe that some of you are saying no. Danny said I wouldn't take Memphis. I want you to give me solutions. I've got to put a poll up for that. £2 million for Memphis Depay all day long. 28 years of age. I thought he had a decent World Cup for Holland as well. I'm taking him all day long for that. Would you sign Memphis Depay £2 million in January? That is what you call a January sale. Big up Lawrence, been a member for 10 months. Said, Kurt, what do you think about Ferran Torres for 26 million, backup striker and can play on the wing? See, my issue with that, I think Ferran Torres is a decent player, right? And if we signed him, again, I would shamelessly celebrate. But he's a winger, and I think we need a striker more. And I don't think he's great through the middle. But if he's available for 20-odd million, it would be a good signing, I suppose. Would you sign Memphis Depay for 2 million? I can't believe people are actually saying no. Depay is another Lacazette. Oh, damn. Crazy. Omid said, as a Madrid fan, having watched him play for Barca, he's a top player. If any Arsenal fans don't want him, then respectfully, listen, we're not going to slander the community, but listen, I hear what you're saying. For £2 million, and you look at his link-up and his strength as well, I think he'd easily play that Gabriel Jesus role for us. Kurt, Memphis or Zaha? Anyone we're linked with, they go, yeah, but what about Zaha? I want Zaha. And I want Zaha. I can't help it. Zaha, Martinelli, Saka, you can't live with that. I'm sorry. There's too much pace, too much movement, too much skill. Zaha, Saka, Martinelli, them man, that's like Blake, Usain Bolt, and who else? Morris Green from back in the day. Yeah, ideally I'd take them both, but yeah, man. But, hey, it is what it is. 2 million is an absolute bargain. But listen, there's also a report here from Fabrizio Romano saying Memphis Depay is a striker that is known to many clubs across Europe to potentially be available in January. He's been linked with clubs like Chelsea, Manchester United and Arsenal. All 3 clubs are believed to be looking for a striker in January. As of yet, none of these clubs have opened negotiations with Barcelona about a potential January move. So there you go. That's what Fabrizio Romano had to say. Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, all looking for strikers. It can be done if clubs want to get it done by the sound of it. So £2 million though. Unbelievable. CR37 is a free. My thing is, and what I want to ask you in the comments, right? This is what I want to say. For those of you who don't want Memphis Depay, fair enough. I disagree. I think for 2 million, it's an absolute unbelievable bargain. But it is what it is. I think he'd have a point to prove because of what happened at Manchester United. He was young, he was a winger. Now he's older, more experienced. He's a striker, vice-captain of Holland as well. I think he's a very good signing. I want you to give me in the comments a striker that Arsenal could sign in January that you would be happy with? We spoke about Cristiano Ronaldo. Most of you said you didn't want him. We're speaking about Memphis Depay. A lot of you are voting saying you would take him. 82% of you actually in the votes saying that you would take Memphis Depay for 2 million. But if you wouldn't take him, who would you take? I want you to give me your answer. If you wouldn't take Ronaldo, if you wouldn't take him, who would you take? Give me realistic options. Vlahovic, possibly, would be expensive. Mitrovic, I like Mitrovic, he'd be expensive. Thuram, I'm not convinced by. Gives me Danny Welbeck vibes, I'm not sure. Could be doing him dirty. Richarlison, I mean, come on, he's not leaving Tottenham to come to us. Cody Gakpo, I think he goes United. Is he good enough as well, by the way? I'm still not sure about him. Weghorst, yeah, he's an absolute giant. He's on loan till the end of the season. Jama said Zaha with an artist chemistry would be a madness. FIFA settings. Mawani, I mean, I saw him miss a one-on-one that probably could have won France the World Cup final. Not convinced. CR7 said Iddy. Ivan Toney, I like Toney, but I think he's going to get banned. He scored from the halfway line in a friendly at the weekend. Tammy Abraham, I mean, honestly, Tammy for me, Charles, I think is absolutely, I wouldn't sign Tammy Abraham for 2 million. I'm telling you. That is the giraffe version of Eddie Nketiah for me. It's Eddie Nketiah with a long neck. I don't want nothing to do with Tammy Abraham. Put Martinelli up top, sign a winger, possibly. Problem is, he's so good on the wing. Do Arsenal want to play him through the middle? Sorry about the comment the other day. Now I know of Twitch. Thank you for the light and laughter. Big up yourself, bro. Thuram, a lot of you like Thuram. You know the thing, Thuram definitely made a big change to that World Cup final. I can't lie. So I can understand why people like him. Would Memphis fit in the locker room? Personality matters. I'm just asking. Don't know what he's like. From what I hear, very good leader in the dressing room, a lot of people have said. People see the rap videos and the flashy car, they think you're a problem, but that's got nothing to do with you in the dressing room. I will take Depay or Thuram. Curtis the lawyer. Kudos from Ajax. More of a cam, I would say, than a striker. That's the only problem. Tony needs a big move. Osimhen would cost 80-odd million. I don't think they'll drop it. Napoli top of the league as well. He might not even want to leave. Giroud about to sign a new deal at Milan. Ramos, I think 85 million release clause for him. Don't think they'd pay it for him. Hasn't really proved enough yet. Latoro, sure, don't you ever compare me to him, Paul. He's washed up. He was moving like Higuain in that World Cup final. I feel like if Latoro was on the pitch now, he still wouldn't have scored. And Naziri looks all right. I don't think he looks that good. Depay is a good egg. He was loved by his teammates at United. I called Tammy Jeffrey the Giraffe from Toys R Us. You're not far off it, man. Dybala just signed for Roma. Don't think he'll move. Messi, if only. If only. Edin Dzeko. I mean, Dzeko's got to be 34, hasn't he? I feel like Dzeko... Does he start as well? Who's he at? Inter? Or is he at... Edin Dzeko. Oh, Dzeko's 36. Played 15 games. Inter aren't going to sell him. He's starting. Patrick Schick would be good. They want crazy money for him. I think he signed a new deal. João Felix, of course, yeah, like you said, you can get him, but it sounds like you can't get him on loan. You're going to have to pay probably 75, 80 million for him. So that's the problem. No to Thuram. I'm taking Depay at Arsenal. Milik from Marseille. Somebody just said Milik. Kevin Campbell. Super Kevin Campbell. Has to be Depay without a doubt. Absolute bargain. Doesn't mess up our play by bringing in somebody completely different where their players have to adjust. I agree with that one. Ronaldo, 6 months on a free, said Pat. Hey, well, you know, you never know, my friend. You never know. Before we get out of it, and Abubakar, a lot of you were saying him as well. I think he's in Saudi Arabia. You might be able to get him for a short term, maybe 18 months. That would be an interesting one. Curtis Shaw, yeah, I'm available, people. I'm available. Anyway, let's move on. AFC Richmond, JB Tart. If you know, man, what's that again? AFC Richmond, Ted Lasso, of course. Just looking ahead before we get out of here. This is Arsenal's fixtures up until the end of January. First game back on Boxing Day. is West Ham at home. Won't be easy. I was looking at the West Ham squad the other day. Majority of the West Ham squad didn't go to this World Cup. So are players going to be more fresh from not playing in the World Cup? Or are they going to be fresh because they've been ticking over and playing and playing and playing? That's going to be interesting. I think this will be a tough game against West Ham. They'll make it physical. They'll make life difficult for us. But we do have a very good record against West Ham at home. We then go to Brighton, which won't be easy. McAllister might be back by then. Danny Welbeck will be fired up. Trossard, they're going to be up for it. Newcastle at home, you're talking about a Champions League side at the moment in terms of where they are in the league. So Oxford away, cup game, FA Cup, then Tottenham, then Manchester United. That is not an easy return until the end of January. After that, our next game, I believe, is not until the start of February, although if we win our FA Cup game, I think there's another one. That is not easy, people. That is not easy. There are tough games there. And if we don't handle this month correctly, we'll be looking up at Manchester City. I don't want to be, I don't want to put a downer on things. Equally, we could beat West Ham on Boxing Day, look good, go to Brighton, dig out a result. Newcastle, listen, that Newcastle, Tottenham and Man United game, that is very, very, very difficult. 5 Premier League games there that are very tough. Brighton away will be hard. Newcastle will be hard. They're on fire. Wilson, Almiron, Bruno Gomes. It's going to be tough. And then Tottenham, the big North London derby, and then United. So whatever we're going to do, we've got to do it quickly. I think Arsenal need to have players in by that Oxford game, really. 9th of January. I want to be going to Tottenham with a new signing, at least one new signing in the tank. So we need to manage them. Somebody just said there, what's the Manchester City schedule? Let's have a look at Man City's next 6 games. It's nice to be in that sort of company, innit? I didn't need to look at Man City's games before. But now it's worth checking Man City. It's great being in a title race. Let's hope we stay there. Let me just quickly check Man City's fixtures, just to give you a little insight. They played against Verona yesterday in a friendly, won 2-0. So they got Liverpool on Thursday, tough game. They then play Leeds away next Wednesday. I think they win that. Everton at home, New Year's Eve. I think they win that. Chelsea away on the 5th of January. Then Chelsea again. 8th of January in the FA Cup. That's a tough week. Then Man United away, Manchester derby. Then Tottenham at home. So they've got a shaky... Yeah, they got 4 tough games there at the end. Come on, man. Chelsea away at the Bridge, Aubameyang. Then Chelsea at home in the FA Cup, same week. Aubameyang again, Sterling, prove a point. Man United, Manchester derby, Marcus Rashford. Come on, Rashy boy. And then Tottenham, I mean, listen, we ain't no support for Tottenham, but Tottenham have a very good record against City. So we've got a chance. Sign some players early, win our games. Man City have a rocky January, and we're 9-10 points clear, people. It looks good on paper, so please, Kroenkes, Edu, Arteta, do your job and give us a chance. We have a chance if we sign the right players. If we don't sign the right players, forget about it. Oz, in the words of Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance? There is a chance there, people. But it's going to take some money being spent. That is for sure. Let's get into your comments then. We're out of here. Been on for over an hour. 2,200 of you in the chat. Absolutely brilliant. Really appreciate it. The Premier League is back. Let's go. The Premier League. Listen, I've enjoyed the World Cup. Big up yourself. Iconic. Blah, blah, blah. But the Prem is back, man. I love the Prem. I can't wait to watch the fast, free-flowing football. And, oh, man. I'm so excited about the game. Definitely do a watch-along on Thursday. Man City, Liverpool, Carabao Cup. And then we'll be back Boxing Day, of course, man. Make sure you smash the like button, of course. Stop being giddy, Curtis. You're not winning the league. Up the Wolves. Hey, listen, Amari, you better make sure you man are in the Premier League next year. You know what I mean? You man will be in the Championship away at Barnsley and that. And we could do with Ruben Neves as well before you disappear out the league as well. I've always liked Ruben Neves. I'm confident in our team, said Rory. I am to a certain point. I don't want to go to Tottenham and Man United with Eddie. I want somebody in. Falalu said, your reaction to the second Mbappe goal was lit. That goal made me lose my head. I couldn't believe what I was watching. One of the goals of the tournament for me. But like I said, man, they couldn't deny what was already written. Thank you very much. Let's go, Gooners. Who are the right players? The players that improve us significantly. That's the right players. That's what January is for, you know. So the players that can take us to that next level. We love you, Arsenal. We do. Oh, Arsenal, we love you. Beat West Ham and we're 8 points clear. That's a great point. Man City don't play on Boxing Day. They play 2 days later. They play on the Wednesday against, who did I just say it was? They play against Leeds. So win that game, go 8 points clear. You never know, Leeds, dirty Leeds, you know, dirty Leeds. They can be a bit dirty sometimes. Bit of rain up there. Wednesday night at Leeds. What's that brother? Who's the guy, man? The fast player who plays for Leeds. Somerville. Get Somerville running at him. You never know. De Bruyne's still on a downer about the World Cup. You just never know, people. Pat said, big up Big C, off work. Off to work, but it's been real. Top of the league. Come on, you Gunners. See you next time. People, I am out of here. Thank you very much for tuning in. Also, let me know, does the slightly later time work better for you people? Would you rather we did streams at around 4 o'clock rather than 2:30? Let me know if that works, and can always move it if it's easier for people because of work and where you are around the world to tune in. So thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate your support. As I said, big up to everyone who supported during the World Cup. Been amazing. Can't wait to get back to the Prem. We will be doing a watch along on Thursday for Liverpool against Man City. And I'll be back again tomorrow, people. Thank you very much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.